How's everybody doing? My name's Mike and we got Miss Puppy with us today. So I'm going to get right into it. I want you to see that I got Miss Puppy on place. Yeah, you're doing a good job, Puppy. Now I want you to see her stance. You see how this dog looks right here? Now this dog, if you see, the tail is straight up and tense, and look at her ears, straight up. So when you see a dog who looks like this, that means they're very tense. So she's very tense. Now I have her on place, so this is something we've taught her to do inside. So now we're coming outside to do it, to make her a little better at doing this. Also to get her outside and let her, get used to being outside and stuff like that. It's going to keep her calm to be on one spot. So what I want to talk about is how I showed you how her tail was up. It was very important for me to catch that for the film, to see how she is when she first comes out. Now, this is a dog that came to me because she was biting the owners, and I've had several Chihuahuas actually come to me for biting the owners. And now this one had a very weird situation. She was stuck in another country because of the pandemic, and learned some bad behaviors there, and came home and started biting the owners. They weren't really dealing with that before, so this was something that happened after the dog came back. So this is how we train a dog, is we start to get rid of the excitement that they have. So what happens is when a dog's a puppy, they're usually very excited. Now if people encourage that and the dog has certain genetics, like Miss Puppy does, so if they have those genetics in them and they're a very excited dog, and once they get super excited, they're only going to bark, lunge, or bite. So when they get excited, they're going to become dominant, right? And dominant behavior, most people are not going to recognize that as not a good thing. So people kind of let that go. So the dog's going to behave excited and then get dominant, like that pose you saw right there. So if you see your dog, like if you're eating food and the dog's doing that pose and staring right at you and you do nothing, the dog's being dominant over you. That's why that's a problem. So you can't let your dog beg for food or do anything like that. The dog's going to first be excited, then become dominant, and then the dog will become aggressive. That is how it goes. The dog is going to be excited, then become dominant, then become aggressive. So, or show aggressive tendencies at the very least. So what we do is if the dog's aggressive and we correct. Alright, sorry about that, guys. We had some technical difficulties. So what I'm getting at with her is you really want to read the body language of your dog. So as you see, that tail was up for a second. See, that's better. See how she's now sitting? When she was first standing, that's not as good, but the sitting is okay, right? You still see her ears are very attentive. So anytime you see a dog stiff like that, you see the tail way up, that means the dog's super excited, right? And the dog is becoming dominant. And that's when, if you have a dog that bites or something, that's when the dog's going to do that, is when you see those signs. So again, what I really want people to take away with this video is, if you have a dog that growls or bites, it doesn't necessarily mean the dog is actually aggressive. Chances are your dog's just dominant, and dogs growl and bite each other to tell each other what to do. That's how they boss each other around. That's why we use the collar that we got on Miss Puppy, that little prong collar right there. That's also called a mother's bite, so that I can have a way to artificially bite the dog's neck. So what was happening in the home was the dog was biting the owners. Now we're going to give the owners a way to bite the dog, to artificially bite them. And that's going to biologically kick the dog back into a submissive state of mind. And that's what we've conditioned into the dog with training. We have to do obedience training to start that off, and then becomes the behavior modification. So what you want to take away from this is, if you have an aggressive dog, it's not usually aggression. If this dog was aggressive, when I do this, good girl, good place. When I do this, she would bite me the first day. Like if she was actually aggressive and I reached in to do that, good place. She would bite me no matter what I do. That's not what happened. The first week I basically just used the leash with her. I let her know I'm not going to make you feel uncomfortable. And then very quickly we were able to get her very comfortable, and she's done really good with training. So what I want you to remember is that if you think you see aggression, it's just growling and nipping. That's not aggression. Aggression is if the dog bites and then does not let go. Okay, that is considered aggression, and that's a little different. Chances are you just have a dominant dog. So when your dog's chilling around your home, and you know, let's say, so when I picked this dog up, they were eating dinner, and there was people at the table, and the dog was jumping all over the place around the table, sitting kind of like in a very attentive way, you know, staring them down. So and no one was correcting the dog. So in my home, if I'm eating food and she's on place and she looks at me in a way that I don't want, like she won't break eye contact with me, then I'll just tug the leash, and we're giving her that artificial bite, and that way she's gonna calm down. Now what typically happens is the owners do not recognize the body language, so it goes unchecked. So right, you have an excited dog, they see the food, right, and then they're excited, they see the food, they start jumping, they're not getting it, they start barking, they're starting to become dominant, you know. And then if they start biting, that's an aggressive, you know, that's a dominant behavior, but most owners are going to call that aggression. So we usually don't get aggressive dogs here. It's usually just a case of excited dominance. So the whole goal with the dog is to stop the excitement. You understand? So if we stop the dog at excitement, because if you remember, excitement happens, then dominance, and then you're going to see a growl or bite, right? So if we stop at the excitement, the dog will never reach dominance, and the dog will never show any of those tendencies. So that's the goal with training. You have to give them a job. Like right now, she's outside. Her job is not to be in heel, but it's to be on place. So we have to always give them a job, and they have to have structure. If she's allowed to just run around, she's going to get into trouble. Now, if you ask, how do you become dominant over the dog? Well, you have to start using a leash with the dog, and we do things every day like this with the dog. So, wait, place. So see how she just tried to get off, and I told her place. I didn't let her make a decision she wanted to make. That's the same decision that goes into biting someone. If she's allowed to make decisions, she'll do stuff like that. So this is how we become dominant over her. I take her from her place, heel, good girl, sit, atta girl, good girl. And that's when we can give affection when she does something that we ask, good girl, good sit, heel. Now if she does something that she's not supposed to do, sit, like not go to the position that I asked, down. So you see that? She's not going down. I'm going to use my foot. I got the camera in my hand, guys. Forgive me. Down. Down. So see how she didn't go into the down, and I had to use my foot to put a little pressure on the leash to get her to go there. That's the dominance I'm talking about. I asked her to do something, and she did not do it. Down. So I have to remind her. You see that? She was sniffing around. She was gonna break it. Let me set her up for success here. Okay, place. Good girl. Place. So did you guys see that when I asked her to do something, she was okay with sitting. When I asked her down, you saw that was a lot more for her to do outside, so she didn't want to do it. So what I did is I corrected her and I made her do it, right? I conditioned her how to get down with the leash, so she knows when I put my foot out like that to get down. So the prong collar is going to help a little bit for her to feel a little bit of pressure. So when the dog gives a refusal like that, you have to be dominant and put the dog in the position you asked for. That's how they start to learn. No correction direction. So again, guys, if you have what you think may be an aggressive dog, chances are they are just an excited dominant dog. And now me and this dog, we are very close. She is my buddy, you know. She's probably like my favorite Chihuahua I think I've ever had here. You know, we're super, I don't have favorites, I'm just kidding, guys. I don't have any favorites, but me and her are super close. You know, she's a super friendly dog. Look, when I put my hand out, look, she knows I'm going to give her affection when she does something good. Good girl. You know, me and her are real good buddies. Dogs will actually like you when you give them structure. So again, if you think you have an aggressive dog, chances are it's just an excited, dominant dog, and those dogs just need structure. You can't just go to any dog trainer and get that type of structure. Okay, there's a certain type of structure they need. They need a job all the time. You have to use a crate, a place bed, and use a leash, and only reward them when they do something that you ask them to do. Okay, you can't just reward them for nothing, you know. Good girl, good place. So we're outside, she's doing place real good. I'll reward her for that. Good girl. So again, guys, if you have what you think is an aggressive dog, it's probably just a excited dominant dog. So that's why we start teaching them obedience and we stop the excitement. Then the dog never becomes dominant. So you have to stop the bad behavior 10 steps ahead of time. You can't wait for the dog to display bad behavior and then stop it. The dog's whole life is we're trying to set it up in a way that they never become dominant. And the way we set it up is to keep them calm and not excited. So we always discourage excitement and we always encourage calmness. And what that, and see how she's looking right there? She's looking at my neighbors, right? So if she's like real stiff, this is how I discourage her. Like, hey, like stop looking like that, place. You see how I just tug the leash and tell her, stop looking like that, you know, place. So I can just tell her, through the leash, I can tell her, don't look at him like that. And you see now she's much calmer. Look, look, just like that. Hey. Just like that, I can tell her not to look at them. She was staring at my neighbors, right? So I can tell her not to focus. That is the difference between a dominant dog and what's going to be a calm dog. If the owner recognizes the bad behavior and tells the dog what to do through the leash in a way they trust, respect, and understand it. That's how you're going to get your well-behaved, calm dog that you always wanted. Good girl. Good place. Yeah, good girl. Yeah, good place, girl.